And a good late Friday afternoon, everyone. Roger Hill of Wuthering Heights, Velco Weather Hazards forecaster, looking at just a little bit of high streaming clouds as this lower cloud begins to break up and move on out of the region to the east. It's a slow process, but it's getting the job done with increasing amounts of sunshine. Well, we're not worried about really the rest of today or tonight. We're worried about this system here that's going to lift up with this upper level trough. It's going to basically lift this up as a warm front and push in warmer air. This is isentropic lifting, and basically it's going to end up causing a snow shield that's going to advance Saturday afternoon and overspread the region with a messy mix of precipitation types. Meanwhile, the surface area of low pressure is going to be developing. It's going to track a low-level jet and interact with the Green Mountains, so the western slopes are going to see some gusty winds. These winds are going to be somewhere around 35 to 45 miles per hour, and some isolated gusts up around 50. It looks like it's going to be the immediate kind of narrow geography of the western slopes of the Green Mountains, but it will likely produce a few impacts. Now, we have, once this area of low pressure, which will cross the Great Lakes and work through Quebec, it'll blow in a westerly burst. That's going to take place on Sunday. It looks like the latest indications are it's moving in slightly earlier, so it'll affect us probably Sunday morning and then continue most of the day and be out of here by around 4 or 5 o'clock in the evening. Looking at the latest modeling, on the left-hand side, we have the European model. On the right-hand side, we have the Canadian regional model. And what we're seeing here is, of course, dry weather currently right now. And as we get into during the morning hours, it's valid about 11 o'clock in the morning on Saturday. Starting to see the incoming precipitation, and it's running into colder air aloft, and that's changing it up to snow. So as it moves on in, we're going to see snow roughly. This is about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. The regional model of the Canadian also in agreement there. And then look what's happening behind it, however. We're looking at some sleet, some areas of freezing rain. Keep your eyes on this. So this is valid with probably a quick couple of inches with moderate snowfall right there. That's about 21Z, which would be 5 o'clock in the evening. Sleet is already starting to overspread the region according to the Canadian model, getting into the Barrie Montpelier area, Burlington, and points south and west. So this is going to be a mixed precipitation event, a wintry mix. It looks like you can see just about everything under the sun here. This is valid at about 10 o'clock on Saturday night. We should have some pretty good winds blowing across the region here. And then these winds begin to shift and dry slot, and we get a little bit of a lull, it looks like, by 2 o'clock in the morning on Sunday. But it's not over. It's going to spread in more sort of combinations of rain showers on the valleys, especially the western valleys, with some wet snow, some mixed precipitation types. That's going to develop basically and change over to either rain or snow shower activity on Sunday. Sunday we get that westerly burst kind of coming down the Mohawk Valley, and indeed that's going to interact with some of the central and southern Green Mountains, and the eastern slopes get that downsloping wind where there could be some impacts. Looking at maximum wind gusts, we're going to start with 11 o'clock in the morning on Saturday. No issues up through the morning hours. This is the HRRR model, so a little bit of a longer look with a shorter range model here on the right-hand side. So the European is going to be probably the most accurate here, but you kind of get the gist. So as we get into about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, you can start to see winds picking up mostly in the southern and central Greens. This kind of pulses up and down, and roughly by around 20Z, that's about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, we start to see the increases take place. The HRRR model is a little quicker than that. I'm thinking this is probably more accurate, but what you can see here is that narrow geography along the summits of the Green Mountains, and those immediate western slopes are being affected. This is valid 22Z, so that's 23, that would be 7 o'clock in the evening, and then 8 o'clock in the evening. You can see things are going pretty good here. This would be 9, 10, 11, 12. This might be a little bit overdone for the HRRR, and the European seems to be a little bit more accurate. And then things begin to calm down once we head toward midnight and beyond. A westerly burst will also be entertained, of course. Now the winds will have shifted to the west here by 12Z. This is 8 o'clock in the morning on Sunday. So we'll start to see those winds pick up kind of southwesterly at first and then eventually westerly. And you can see that, again, it's targeting some parts of the eastern slopes of the Green Mountains of basically southern Windsor County into Windham County. And it falls apart by, certainly this is about 5 o'clock in the afternoon. That's it or 6 o'clock in the evening. Roger Hill, Wuthering Heights. Thanks for watching.